Hey guys, day 6 of Index Card a Day, which is a 61-day challenge to create art every day on an index card. I'm starting out on my index card that has a layer of heavy gesso on it. I'm starting out with some Viva Las Vegas stamps. Viva Las Vegas stamps. It's a tongue twister, but the numbers are called grungy numbers, I believe, and then there's one with the circles, and then there's another one called mesh texture, which is like little tiny dots, and this one here is Waybill invoice, and I'm just using the lines of that stamp, concentrating the stamping on the outer corners. Now I have some acrylic paint by Handmade Modern, which is a Target brand of craft paint, and this is the color Slate, and I watered it down quite a bit because I just want to get that white of the card out of there. I just want a subtle, nice gray all over the background. Now I have some Distress Oxide ink in Wilted Violet, and I'm using my ink blending tool to apply that color where the stamping is in the corners there. I'm going to bring it down into the center of the card and also go around the edges a bit, but I want the darkest color to be where that stamping is in the corners. And I'm just trying to make it soft around the edges where the two colors meet. And I'm going to add some water droplets with my paintbrush, and then I'm going to touch my paintbrush to the card to make some bigger splotches. And now I am stamping another Viva Las Vegas stamp called, I think it's called Star Collage, but I'm gonna emboss the stamp on a piece of Bristol cardstock. Bristol paper is super thick, but it's not textured like some of the watercolor papers, so you can watercolor it and do a lot of those watery techniques without the paper buckling, or it takes water techniques really well, and it doesn't have that texture like some of the other papers, so it's easy to get a good impression of your stamp on. So I really enjoy using the Bristol cardstock for that. And shout out to Corey Harriman, who is the one who told me about the Bristol cardstock. So I embossed that, and I'm just going to cut out the star because there's no way I could cut out all of those squiggly writing lines. So I'm just going to cut out the star, and then I'll stamp the stamp on my index card to bring some of those details back. But first I'm going to make sure that the edges of the cardstock is covered up with some of that black ink. And I'm running an anti-static tool over my card to make sure the embossing powder doesn't stick where I don't want it. And I'm embossing with a super fine black, and you can see that even though I used the anti-static tool and made sure that my background was really dry, the embossing powder still stuck around my background. So before I melt it, I started to melt it and realized, oh, I better brush some of that extra embossing powder away. So I'm just using a paintbrush to, as best I can, get that embossing powder off of the background where I don't want it. I don't get it perfect, but that's fine. And then I'm gonna go all around the edges with my ink pad, and now I can adhere the star to my card using some glossy accents, and I'm just gonna apply it and then move the glue around with my finger. I have a problem with using the glossy accents and then it like oozes out of the side, so when I do that with my finger to move it around, I don't have that happening as much. So I have a stamp set here by Dina Wakley. It's a clear stamp set. It's the star ones. I forget what it's called, but there's little words. There's one that says shine, and then there's another quote, and I just want the word star from that quote. So I just inked up the word star and stamped it so that I can create my own little sentiment that says star shine. And I had to laugh when I was editing and watching myself move these words around. I mean, it's ridiculous. It looks quick here, but I probably wasted a good 5 minutes moving them around, and I ended up putting them exactly where they were, the very first place I put them. But that's how I craft. So, that's it for the card today, monochromatic. And thank you so much for watching. And there are plenty more iCads coming down the pike. I'm still working on editing them, and I will see you tomorrow with another card. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye, guys.